Hey everybody, welcome to Animaker Tips. In this channel, we show you how to create awesome explainer videos using the Animaker software. Now in this week's episode, we're going to be tackling the issue of how to write an effective script. Now having an effective script is important because it's the opportunity that you get to show your audience how your product or service will actually benefit their lives. If you want to have an effective script, you need an effective strategy. Now, luckily for you, I'm going to show you my 5-step strategy that I use to create effective scripts for my clients. So, let's begin. Alright, so we're going to start this video by first showing you a recent explainer video that I created for a company known as Travel Pal Finder. After we watch the video, I'm going to show you the 5-step process that I use to create the script that was featured in that video. So let me roll the clip and then we're going to get started on the lesson.
Are you attending a conference and looking for someone to split costs such as travel and accommodation? Susan is a young entrepreneur who wants to attend a conference that will improve her marketing skills. Brian is a comic book enthusiast who wants to connect with other fans at the next comic book convention. The travel expenses such as lodging and local transportation are just too expensive for them to manage alone. If they can't find someone to share the costs with, they won't be able to go on their trips. Thankfully, they found out about Travel Pal Finder. Travel Pal Finder is a platform where people attending the same event can connect and decide how they will split travel costs such as an Airbnb, Uber, or even a sandwich. Signing up is so easy. First, create your account in order to see our event listings. Once you find your event, you will simply pay a minimal fee to unlock the list of other attendees that are going to the same event. If your event is not listed, contact us and we'll see about getting it added to our listings. With Travel Pal Finder, Brian and Susan can now attend their own events without breaking their budget and make new friends along the way. Save hundreds of dollars on your next adventure by using Travel Pal Finder. Sign up today at travelpalfinder.com and share it with your friends. Travel Pal Finder. Share costs, share memories.
Now that you've finished watching the video, let's review the process that I used to create the explainer script. Now, step 1 for me was to understand the problem. This phase or this step is very important because you need to show the audience that we understand the problems that they're dealing with. Being able to sympathize with your audience is the best way to grab their attention. So what is a simple practical way to get the ball rolling with something like this? Well, I usually like to ask myself 2 important questions. What is the main problem that you're trying to solve with your product or service? And who is your target audience? So if you look back to the video, you should have noticed that the major problem was that attending a conference, going to an event, it tends to be expensive because you have a lot of things to deal with, such as food expenses, travel expenses, and hotel expenses. These expenses can prevent a person from attending the conference or event because it's simply out of their budget. So question 1 is kind of important, obviously, because you need to figure out what the problem is so that way you can show your audience how your product can solve the problem. Now the second question that I always like to ask is, who is your target audience? Now this is important because your product can fit a lot of age demographics. If you're creating a toy, your age demographic would probably be for kids. So it's kind of important to know that target audience because it can help shape the language that you're going to be using in your explainer script. So if you are trying to reach kids, you're gonna speak in a way that kids can understand and relate to. If you're talking to younger people, like teenagers and young adults, you talk with their language. But in order to craft your script the right way, you need to understand your target audience. Now in this example for the Travel Pal Finder video, my main target audience was supposed to be 18 to 32-year-old people. Now the advantage of knowing my target audience, especially for this video, is it helped influence both my script and the characters that I chose for this video. Now as you can see, on the left side we have the guy and on the right side we have the girl. If you notice, they kind of fit that 18 to 32-year-old range. And as we continue, you'll see how the script is influenced by the target audience for this video. Now speaking about the script, we have our responses over here on the left side, and we have the actual script on the right side. So whenever it comes to writing an actual script, I always like to think of writing a story or telling a story. So what I did is I looked at these responses and I decided to create a story that highlights the responses that were given to me by Travel Pal Finder. So I'm going to read them out and I'm going to show you how they connect to the responses on this side. So I said this: are you attending a conference and looking for someone to split costs with, such as travel and accommodation? Susan is a young entrepreneur who wants to attend a conference that will improve her marketing skills. Brian is a comic book enthusiast who wants to connect with other fans at the next comic book convention. I mentioned that Susan is a young entrepreneur, and I mentioned that Brian is a comic book enthusiast who wants to connect with other fans at the next comic book conventions. Both of these characteristics are similar to what a target audience of 18 to 35-year-old people would tend to do. That's how the first paragraph connects to who is your target audience. Now let's read the second paragraph. Second paragraph basically says this: the travel expenses such as lodging and local transportation are just too expensive for them to manage alone. If they can't find someone to share the cost with, they won't be able to go on their trips. Thankfully, they found out about Travel Pal Finder. Now this specific section connects with what is the main problem. Because you see, I mentioned the travel expenses being an obstacle, such as lodging, local transportation. That's how this little section connects with that response. Now after completing this phase, the next phase is to present the solution to your audience. Now in phase 2, which is presenting the solution, it's important to show how your product will solve a customer's problem. Now the best way to help you with this section is to ask yourself this question: how does your product or service benefit your customer? Now in the case for the Travel Pal Finder client, they told me that their Travel Pal Finder system easily solves this problem of having to deal with travel expenses by connecting you with another person who's going to the same exact event that you're going to. Now this is a big deal because if you're connected together, you can easily negotiate with your Travel Pal how to split the expenses, such as the hotel, travel, and food expenses. This will ultimately reduce your travel expenses, which will make it easier for you to attend your event. Now that we have that response, it was time to turn it into a script. Now you will notice that the response is quite lengthy. So in my actual script, I decided to use the approach of trying to condense it so that way it wouldn't be too long. If you check out the actual script, I say Travel Pal Finder is a platform where people attending the same event can connect and decide how they'll split travel costs, such as an Airbnb, Uber, or even a sandwich. So that's pretty much phase 2. Now the next step is to describe the process that is required to use your product or service. Now being able to describe the process of using your product is very important because after the customer has already seen that your product is a solution to their problem, the next natural question they'll ask you is this: how does this thing work? Please explain to me the process that is required for me to use your product or service. Now, when I talked to Travel Pal Finder, they basically explained that there is an actual process that's actually required to use their system. The process first starts off with setting an account at Travel Pal Finder. Then the person will select an event that they want to attend. After this, they're going to be connected with another person who's attending the same event, so that way they can link up, and once they are linked up, they can be able to split the travel expenses such as an Uber, Airbnb, and food and any other expense that you deal with whenever you're traveling. Since you now know how to use the Travel Pal Finder platform, the next step is to turn the responses into an actual script. So in my script, I simply said, signing up is so easy. First, create your account in order to see our event listings. Once you find your event, you will simply pay a minimal fee to unlock the list of other attendees that are going to the same event. If your event is not listed, contact us and we'll see about getting it added to our listings. Now, if you look at this script, you'll notice that it basically addresses the response that we were given to when we asked, explain the process required to use your product or service. So it basically hits the part about where you need to create your own account in the Travel Pal Finder website. It hits the point where it says select the event that you want to attend to, and obviously it basically shows that Travel Pal Finder will connect you to your travel partner who you can split your costs with. Now, after completing phase 3, the next step is to create a one-sentence thesis statement. Now, what this basically means is, if you remember, if you went to English class, you were always taught to create a thesis statement. A thesis statement basically means your main goal. What is your main goal for a person to get when they watch your video? So one of the best ways to approach that is to ask yourself, what is the main message that you want your audience to remember after they watch your video? Now, when I asked Travel Pal Finder this question, they responded by simply saying that Travel Pal Finder is a platform that pairs people who are attending the same conference. This feature allows both people to easily split up travel expenses such as transportation, food, and housing. Now, you can probably tell that that's quite a mouthful to say, so I had to find a way to condense it into one sentence. Now, I simply said, with Travel Pal Finder, Brian and Susan can now attend their own events without breaking their budget and make new friends along the way. The good thing about this sentence, it's more condensed. I'm able to show the main goal in a more condensed sentence. So after completing this step, the last step is to simply create our call to action. Now, a call to action is simply, what do you want your customers to do after they watch your video? So something that you might be more familiar with is, if you've ever watched a YouTuber, they always tell you to subscribe and turn on your post notifications. That is an example of a call to action. So in our explainer video, I needed to discover what is the call to action. Now, when I talked to Travel Pal Finder about it, they simply said to get people to sign up at travelpalfinder.com. Now that I figured out that the call to action for the video was to simply get the customers to sign up at travelpalfinder.com, I needed to make sure that my script included the call to action, and also that I was able to wrap up the actual script. So this is how I chose to tackle it. I simply said, save hundreds of dollars on your next adventure by using Travel Pal Finder. Sign up today at travelpalfinder.com and share it with your friends. This right here, that's the call to action for the video. Now, with any video that I usually tend to do, I like to look and see if the company has a tagline, because I always find that that's a nice way to end a video. Now, for Travel Pal Finder, they had one, so that's why I chose to end the script by simply saying, Travel Pal Finder, share costs, share memories. That's just a nice way of wrapping up the entire video. Now that you've made it to the end of the video, I want to say thank you for checking out the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you've noticed, I've been using a PowerPoint for this presentation. If you'd like to get this exact PowerPoint that I use for whenever I create all my explainer videos, I highly recommend that you download it by checking out my site, animakertips.com/blog. Scroll all the way down and download this PowerPoint presentation. It's going to be very helpful. Now, when you open it up, there's also a bonus pack where I'm going to be showing you all the 5 phases that I use in order to create this explainer video. I kind of did it in a visual way so you can kind of see how this system works and you can see how the order works. So that's basically it. If you have any questions about the video, let me know by writing your questions in the comment box below. And if you're a business who needs an explainer video, let us handle it for you, because we are professional explainer video creators who know how to create awesome explainer videos that will convert your viewers into buyers. If you want to learn more about our explainer video services, you can check out the link in the description. Thanks for watching the video, and I can't wait to see you next time.